Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Dutch live stream. It's the third time we're doing this. This time we have an exciting guest, Sam Cheow. He is a pet longevity advocate. Just for a quick introduction, my name is Joe Spector. I'm the founder and CEO of Dutch. I'm here with Dr. Kate Elden, our Chief Medical Officer, and we're here with Sam Cheow, and we're going to talk about pet longevity. You guys want to introduce yourselves real quick?
Sure, yeah. I'm Dr. Kate Elden. I'm a licensed veterinarian and Chief Medical Officer at Dutch. And I'm so excited for today, both because we've got a special guest and because of the topic.
And I'm Sam, you know us. This is a quartet. This is Patriot. He's the eldest one. He's on the longevity protocol that Dr. Kate has got us on. And we have Lady Petunia here. She's 9, and she's also on the protocol as well. So we're very excited that, Joe and Dr. Kate, that you are able to get us on your platform because we have so many questions from our followers asking everything, about Dutch, rapamycin, arthritis, flea and tick medications, and there are so many questions, and I know we're short of time, so I will let you guys pick and choose where do you guys want to start with.
Absolutely. And this is what's so great about this live stream is we get to have a real veterinarian, our own wonderful Dr. Kate, answering questions. For those tuning in who may not know how Dutch works, we're an online veterinary platform. Super easy. Much like this, you get to talk to a real professional day and night. Oftentimes, people are coming to us on nights and weekends when something is going on with their pet. We were talking to Sam before the show, and he made a great analogy that this is kind of like going to the dry bar when you need a touch up for your hair. I love that. And so Dutch is often a place where you can come for things like flea and tick medication or pet anxiety issues, for things where talking to a vet day and night might be a great way to save on costs and save on your pet having to go into a car. It's a really convenient, affordable way to get professional help without taking your cat and dog to the veterinarian, and it's much more affordable. So off to the races.
Thinking, what would really help everyone is maybe I can share how I use Dutch. For example, Lady Petunia always get crusty eyes, in the morning, and I was able to just jump into a call with one of your vet very quickly on that day. And, he said, apply warm water compression, immediately send me an online prescription that I get it delivered in the next 3 days to help lubricate her eyes. And what I find really easy for me is I don't have to book an appointment with a receptionist to see a vet, take the cat, or walk to the vet, and bring the dogs with me. I think the inconvenience and also the stress part of it really helps me a lot. But also like the idea that almost, I'm not sure what I can say, that it's almost like it's good to check in with you guys from time to time, because I do get, oh, am I overfeeding them? Or I notice something is not right with Patriot. Why is he being really, really quiet? So I call it maybe for pet owners paranoia in a way. It's so great to have a team of vets that I can access anytime. And I just really want to make it clear, this is not a sponsored message. I am a customer of Dutch, and the 4 children are customers to Dutch as well. So we have been benefiting from this service. And perhaps Joe, you can tell us whether is there a cap to how many online appointments you can do, and also maybe tell us a little bit more about the fees as well, because I want people to understand how it works financially as well.
Yeah, and this is the beauty of how we design the service, is that we want to make it really simple for pet parents. with Dutch, you get to have up to 5 pets on your membership, and you pay a single fee for a year. It's about $100, which is really the cost of a single in-person visit for one pet. And you get unlimited messages and video calls. And so you're not having to pay a fee each time that you want to talk to a veterinarian, each time you want to ask a question. You're not nickel and dimed. We make it frictionless. And so that's why, Sam, you get to have this experience when you have a question about your dog's crusty eyes. You don't have to feel like, when can I get them in? Is that going to be another charge? And is that worth it? Should I use Dr. Google? We make it super easy and convenient that you can just reach out to Dr. Kate and ask her those questions.
And I want to say, like, us vets, we like it too, because we realize that it's hard for people to get in, and that a lot of the time, instead of talking to a vet, people just go online, or they just don't ask their question. They don't get their question answered. So it's really nice to be on the other side of the screen, you know, whether you're calling from your phone or your iPad or computer. It's really nice to, you know, be able to help people both from the comfort of my home and the comfort of your home. Yeah.
And I don't have to file insurance. You know, that's one thing. You know, if those people who have dogs insurance, but also, I guess I trust being able to talk to a live vet versus trying to fix everything through ChatGPT. You know, and I think AI is great, but sometimes if you may miss certain things, I just think it's better to talk to a licensed vet. You know. Yeah.
It's definitely incredible that on the one hand, I totally hear you as a pet parent myself. There is so much you can learn from ChatGPT, but there's absolutely nothing compared to someone who has years and years of experience and can see your pet on video like we do with Dutch, can go through your pet's medical history in a personalized way on your own time. And just ultimately the trust and confidence you get and the relief that you get from having to talk to another human being, I would say it's still unparalleled today. And that's definitely what makes Dutch cool.
And Joe, did we tell them how much is it for an annual membership?
It's about $100. And actually on this show, we have a special promotion code, Senior 50.
It's $100 for the whole year, Joe. You got to say that, because people are going to think just one appointment is
for a month, right?
The whole year, up to five pets, which, you know, you're about to max out on, Sam.
I know. I know. And not only that, just kind of give it context. You know, again, you know, we have so many people from different parts of the U.S. You know, like for like $100, it's almost basically, I would call it a cab ride back and forth to the vet. I hate to say that, you know. So I like to always give our followers a context, because people may ask, you're feeding them broccoli. Broccoli is expensive. Said, no, the broccoli I bought is from the street. You know, it's basically like $4. You know, a bunch of broccoli. So I just want to give our followers the financial context, that when you look at it, you know, divided by 12 months, it's technically you're paying for, you know, a takeaway or something like that, but at least you have ease of mind and stress free, and then being able to link up with you know with that, you know.
So we're here with Sam Cheow, an online Dutch vet, and we can't be talking to Sam without talking about pet longevity. It's the hot topic in pet healthcare. And Sam, you have been a longevity advocate. So I'd love to hear more about your journey with that, and then maybe talk about how even Dutch landed on your radar. And that could be a great way to start talking about some of the ways to help pets live longer.
Yeah. So I think we all have pets, and you know, we all have different level of love for our pets, and my pets are my children. So anything I can do to extend their life is very important. But I remember Dr. Kate gave me a really brilliant insight. It's not just about extending their life, it's about extending their quality of life, you know, health span versus lifespan. And I really take that analogy to heart, because I look at how and what I do for them on that basis. And then I think a lot of pet parents that's on this channel that are joining us, we are looking at, can we feed them this? Can we provide this sort of supplements to them? And there are so many ways of doing it. And it's just not about food itself. It's about spending time with them as well. I call it's like relationship with your loved ones. You need to be engaged. If you are scrolling your phone all the time and not talking to your loved ones, I'm sorry, something may happen over there. So it's the same thing as Petunia. If you ignore her, she'll scratch you and ask to be pet. So for me, I think being engaged in the area of longevity in our own way from all our followers and from myself is so important, because that's what we care a lot. And one of the key topics that I am very a huge advocate of is this medication called rapamycin. And I will let Dr. Kate tell you a little bit more about rapamycin, but I want to kind of share a little bit of context of how I got to know about this medication. I learned it from an online source. At that time, there was not enough information. I know they do it for human as well. But when I learned about rapamycin for dogs, I was very interested in it. But I realized that, when I got the medication from one particular company, it was over $800. And I said, there's no way I could continue to finance this. But I would rather do it because I want to give them the best quality of years. And when I started researching, Dutch came out, and I was surprised to see an online vet offers rapamycin to my fur children. And that's very important, because it shows me that you are an elevated vet. Again, this is not a sponsored message, because you know how to offer the latest kind of medication in this particular arena. And I think it's very important, because when I go to my traditional vet and ask them about rapamycin, some of them have no idea about it. Some of them say, oh, there are a lot of studies there, but I know about the triad study. Dr. Kate shared with me some of the study that's been going around as well. But I realized, and this is not to poo-poo offline vet. For me, it's almost like being going for an expert. And for me, it's that you can go to your general doctor, but if you want to check anything about your heart, you go to a cardiologist, right? So for me, being able to have access to a team of vets that appreciates longevity and being able to prescribe a medication for me is very important. And I see the difference. Patriot was, completely very lethargic almost like 4 years ago, doesn't even want to climb the stairs. Sometimes I think he's manipulating me to carry him, but most of the time, he just doesn't even want to play with his siblings, and he just have this like, I just don't want to do anything kind of mood. And after being on rapamycin for over 8 months, I start seeing the difference. He has got more energy, he'll come and play from time to time, and he start doing things like a puppy again. So I do see the benefit, and I think that is my customer testimonial on rapamycin, that it really, really works. So I'm gonna pass on to you guys now to tell the people here a little bit more about rapamycin.
Sounds great. I mean, how much time do we have? Because rapamycin's so interesting. And that was what connected us, Sam. But then we had so many other things that we talked about after that. I think rapamycin's gotten a lot of attention because there are some famous people taking it these days. The longevity and health span question, I'm thank you for bringing that up, because who cares if we live longer if our brains aren't working and our body's not working and we're not able to enjoy the happy things about life. So that's an important thing to think about when we talk about trying to live longer. We want that for our pets. We want to be able to bond with them and to have them be engaged for that time. But yes, rapamycin's come on the scene, on the longevity scene. It has some interesting history. So it was first discovered in Easter Island, also known as Rapa Nui. That's how it gets its name. And it's a compound that's produced by the Streptomyces bacteria that's antifungal. And that's how we first found out about it. And it's been used in transplant patients and people to suppress the immune system so they don't reject organs during organ transplant. That's kind of its history. It was studied in mice for longevity, and they noticed that these mice were living like 8 to 10% longer. So, that was a striking clue. And in pets today, there's a big study that's going on. This is the study Sam referred to. It's called the Triad study. And it's this long study, about 10 years long, where we're looking at dogs and checking health span endpoints to track and see how they're feeling, just like how you reported that Petunia is feeling a lot better and more energetic along the way. So we want to know, do pets live longer with it? And are they active and engaged and comfortable throughout that time? So yeah. One of the questions that you asked me, Sam, in the beginning was, the cost of it through our platform. I can tell you, if you're okay with me sharing the personal information that you're rapamycin.
I consent. I authorize and I consent.
Okay. I was just looking it up in the chart for your quartet, and for their monthly rapamycin, it's like $10.40. $10.40 a month for them.
So I'm going to do a little bit QVC thing. Like, it's $10.40, everyone. One little pill once a week to extend the health span of your dog.
And it used to be $800.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, seriously,
Wow.
I was completely shocked by that. And that's why I just realized a lot of people were just basically, I would say, not exploiting me, but it was, I felt that I was paying for the packaging, not for the prescription. And that's why I am your advocate, because I think it's so awesome for you guys to democratize the access and make it affordable for pet owners to get this medication. And I think I'm not talking about just free healthcare for everyone else. I'm talking about accessible healthcare that can extend the health span of your dogs for $10.40 a week.
And I think it's important to call out, and you mentioned that your in-person vet didn't know about rapamycin. It's an emerging, currently studied medication. So when a pet is on rapamycin, we want to do some monitoring. You go in to get blood work regularly to check and make sure their labs look normal. We're going to want to watch them because there isn't FDA approval for rapamycin for the use of longevity yet. It takes a long time to get that kind of approval. And so it's still an emerging and currently actively studied medication. So it's worth a conversation to make sure that it's a good fit for each pet. I'm going to make sure your veterinarian is comfortable based on lab work and things like that.
And then also, Dr. Kate, just kind of give everyone a little bit of background knowledge as well. There are so many things that we take from a supplement perspective as human that's also non-FDA approval. And of course, I worked in beauty before, in skincare as well. There are products that people apply that is also non-FDA approval as well. So I guess it's so important to be educated, and I prefer to be educated by a team of vets, that tells me a little bit more what I am volunteering for and what I'm actually getting for my dog.
That's a really good call out.
So besides longevity, we also have to talk about flea and tick. We're in the middle of.
How much time do we have, by the way?
We have about less than 30 minutes left.
Okay. Do you think you can just tell a little bit more about what does rapamycin do for the dogs itself before we go to the flea and tick, which is the second hot topic from everyone, because I want people to understand what does it do. I don't want to use the words that I know because I'm not a licensed vet, but I want them to hear it from you that, okay, it helps to reduce inflammation, blah, blah, blah. So Dr. Kate, can you please shed some light?
Yes. Okay. So you want to know, in regular terms. So rapamycin, what it does is it affects a metabolic pathway in the body and tells the body, instead of kind of going into a more senescence non-active mode, to continue a maintenance mode as if you were more in your younger, earlier years, to continue to cycle through cells and make sure that they're healthy. instead of, this like downhill slide of getting ready for the end of life. And so it can reduce inflammation that way. It's like going through your cells and making sure that your cells are healthy.
So basically, it's like taking a supplements, like, if someone were to take vitamin C, for example, it's the same way of helping the dog's body, system, to continue to produce healthier cells.
That's a great summary. Yes.
Dr. Kate, have you seen cats on rapamycin?
So cats can take rapamycin, and actually cats have FDA approval for rapamycin for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So cats definitely can take rapamycin, and they've got approval for this specific heart condition. I haven't treated any cat patients for a longevity purpose, but I don't see a reason why it wouldn't have the same application in cats as it does in dogs.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
They do say cats have 9 lives. So maybe that's why.
I did see an 18-year-old cat yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, and she was spry running around. So yeah.
Is there any side effects on rapamycin, Dr. Kate?
So yeah, so no medication is without consequence,
Sure.
right? Anytime we take a medication. And so, yeah, some dogs might experience like a little bit of GI discomfort, meaning like tummy discomfort. That would be the main symptom. Might be like a little bit of change in appetite, things like that. Have you experienced any side effects for any of your dogs? Have you seen any of that?
No, I have not seen that at all. I think if they have any, GI issues, I would know, but I've never seen any like loose stool or anything like that. But also one thing, some of the would help the followers understand as well is that how soon can a dog, take rapamycin? At what age would you recommend, in that sense?
Yeah, I would start thinking about it, and I would start thinking about like senior health for dogs in general at around middle age. Like a lot of us think about treating the senior dog when they're older and they're already starting to show signs of this slowing down. And we define senior pets as like the last 25% of their life. And we do that because, like big dogs like Great Danes live, less years on average than a small dog like a Norwich Terrier.
Yeah.
But if we had to generalize, like around age 6, 7, and younger for bigger animals and later for smaller animals in general.
And it can be for all breeds, right?
For all breeds. The triad study is specifically on dogs that are bigger. I think they picked dogs that are around 40 pounds and up. Awesome. So that's what we're going to have the research on. That'll be completed in 2029. But there isn't a breed exclusion in my mind. There's no reason to do that. The signaling pathway. So rapamycin works on the mTOR signaling pathway, and we all have that. It's a metabolic pathway in people and in pets, and so there wouldn't be a breed exclusion.
No, sorry.
I just want, since people are tuning in for the first time to this live stream, we're here talking to Sam Cheow. He's a pet longevity expert, and Dr. Kate. And we're talking about how you can come to Dutch, an online vet platform, to talk to a veterinarian anytime, day or night. One of the questions from the audience, what is the cost per month from Dutch? And right now, Dutch is $100 for a year of care. For those joining, they can use the code senior50, senior50 to get $50 off. So now you're paying $50. And like Sam said, that could be the price of broccoli. That could be the price of gas,
coffee in New York City.
Coffee. So for $50, you get a year of care. So not per visit, not per month. You get a year of care, unlimited messages, video calls for up to 5 pets.
I have to just say hi to Roberta. She's one of our followers. She's just on there as well. So Roberta, basically the cost is an annual. You pay upfront for $100, and I always like to look at it by divided by 12. So it works out very affordable on a monthly basis. And she's really she's the one that wants to talk about Liberella, but that's the next topic.
Okay. Well, I would be remiss. Okay. I'm just going to say one more thing about helping pets live longer and healthier, and then we can move on, because I would be remiss if I didn't mention the single most important thing that you could do to help your pet live longer saves you money. And since we're talking about Dutch being really affordable, the one most researched and scientifically backed thing that you can do is actually calorie restriction. People don't like talking about it because food is love. It's a part of how we connect with our pets. And I would encourage people, if they can, to think about the quality of the food over the quantity, because we have good research. There's the Purina study backed by the Dog Aging Project that showed dogs that were fed less food, 25% less food, lived almost 2 years longer. So that's just from feeding less calories a day. And so that's something that we can actually do at home as pet parents, and it saves you money at the end of the day. And it also really helps with health span, because when joints have a lot of weight on them, that's really hard on pets too. Okay, Librella.
We're doing the view because we're all jumping on these questions, This is like the Dutch view. No, Pat, one thing, Kate, is there a certain calorie intake you would recommend for them? Because every pet, from, like raw food, to kibbles or etc., they have like different servings or etc. But I think you can't just follow the serving size, because you have to look at the size of the dogs as well, right? Is there a calorie intake minimum requirement?
Oh, well, yes, there is, in fact. So Sam, there's it's based on your pet's body condition, though. So there's a calculation that we use, and it has some exponential quotients there. So not everybody wants to do it at home. But that's at Dutch also, have access to this equation where you just plug in the pet's weight and their body condition. And body condition, what does that mean? That means like how much muscle and fat your pet has on them. Like, are they overweight, and what does their lean body muscle look like? So a pet that is over conditioned, their recommended daily calorie intake for them is going to be less than a pet that is at a good body condition. So there isn't like one across the board, and it's not going to be stagnant. It's going to depend on how fit they are in that moment. And I would say, like, my own dog, like when I was in the mountains with him, we were moving around a lot, I fed him more. And when we were at home and he was being a couch potato, he got fed once a day. And actually, there's research that shows that once a day feeding can be really good for dogs.
And then sometimes there are manipulation of asking you more and more food. But I think, Dr. K, what would be really awesome for our next check-in, when the children see you, we should do their calorie intake, and I would love to publish the calorie intake for each of them, for everyone, so that people know that it's almost like seeing a personal trainer. At least I'm paying a personal trainer for a whole entire year, that we can check in, every quarter on their weight, which is super awesome. You have to look at that.
I can give you like a targeted calorie intake for each one of your 4, and then you can go and do the backwards math, and that'll be, regardless of what food you're feeding, you can add up the calories and customize it.
There's no way that AI could have given you that kind of information. And even if it did, there's no way it would be this trustworthy, because you're not going to change the diet of your dog based on what AI told you. But if you had a chance to talk to a professional veterinarian, to show your dog, to discuss your medical history, and have them use their knowledge, like, this is an example of how much more trustworthy a service like this is and you don't have to. Can you imagine taking all 4 of your dogs to the veterinarian, having this? I mean, this would be half of your entire day, and not to mention
how much it would cost, Joe. I'm sorry to say that.
and just in your, I can't imagine your dogs. I mean, my dog would not be happy to be doing that. And if I could do that from the comfort of my home, show my dog, discuss my history, and get a personalized nutrition plan, that blows my mind right there. And again, the whole thing is $100 for a year of care.
So just say maybe you guys should do a workshop one day, like maybe I'm not sure whether there's a National Dog Day or National Weight Day or something like that. We should do an online streaming of everyone doing their calorie intake, as part of an education from Dutch. That'd be awesome.
Or National Broccoli Day, does that exist? I love how you keep bringing up broccoli, and broccoli actually has a lot of good antioxidants. It has some anti-cancer effects. And if your dog will eat things like broccoli as a treat, or like carrots or blueberries, or even like just a little bit of banana, certain things like that, it can be so good for them, and adding other nutrients and antioxidants. And you would take that into account with your recommended daily caloric intake that your Dutch vet customizes.
Oh my God, I want to do a whole poster for them. I'm Lady Petunia, and my calorie intake is XXX.
Yeah.
So now I think we have to talk about other topics now, because
should I?
Let me. We actually have a question that's tied to this from Anita Aliyah from Facebook. She said, "Can you please share what kind of at-home lab test kits you have available? Also, when a patient gets a prescription for flea meds or dewormers, can they only use that prescription to buy the meds from you? Or can they use your prescription to buy the meds elsewhere? And how long is each prescription good for? Lastly, do you only sell name brand medications, or do you also have cheaper versions?"
Anita, you asked this question. I think this is like a gold mine of questions here. Okay, we have a lot of lab tests, and we're continuously adding more as the bottleneck is the labs creating the tests so that people can do them at home. But we offer urine testing, so we can check for UTIs, we can check for some kidney function, looking to see how concentrated the urine is. We can actually culture the urine as well, that you get from your pet, from your dog or cat, and that test kit can be shipped to you. We do fecal testing, so you can collect a poop sample, whether it's just like a routine kind of wellness, checking for intestinal parasites once or twice yearly, or even 4 times for puppies. We recommend that, checking for intestinal parasites, or if your pet has diarrhea, we look for things like Giardia. We also do like a skin and ear test, which is a swab. Looks like a Q-tip. It's a fancy Q-tip, but it's sterile. And we walk you through how to get a sample from inside of your pet's ear. You could do both ears, and you do that when you suspect there might be an ear infection, and then again to confirm that it's been cleared. And you can use that same kind of swab anywhere on the body if they've got a wound or something like that you're interested in. And we're always adding more tests. So that was a good one. The question about medications, just like, so that all veterinarians are required to allow you to take a prescription and get it filled anywhere. That's at Dutch, that's at your local veterinarian. You are not beholden to get your prescription from the veterinarian where they are. You can always go somewhere else. So we do price match. If you find a better deal somewhere else, we want to know about it, because we want to have really competitive pricing, because we know that our rush shipping is sometimes faster than waiting at the pharmacy. So let us know if you see it cheaper. That helps us out. What were some of those other questions at the end there?
The length of the medication, which depends. I mean, I would say it probably depends on the laws in the state, and depends on the situation, but it's anywhere from 3 to 6 months usually for medication.
And then we also, we sell generics. We've got, we can get the name brands. That was her last question there. Do you sell name brand meds, or do you also have cheaper versions? We have the generics. We have the the name brands. We've got chewable versions. We've got capsules. There's like a bunch of different things that we can prescribe. We're also not beholden to one formulation.
Okay, the next question is in the same topic from Suffolk County. Again, I gotta ask this. That's where around Sam's neighborhood. My 9-month-old Weimaraner loves to run, so I bring him to open fields at schools and soccer fields. It seems no matter what place I go, there seems to be ticks on him, very small ones. And even though I check thoroughly and he's on the pill, they always turn up and they end up getting them on me as well. I think when he comes on the couch or bed, do you recommend any extra spray or additional collar? We're located in Suffolk County, New York.
Okay, so I just looked up Suffolk County in New York. I use the Companion Animal Parasite Council to look at these kinds of incidence maps. And I can see that 1 in 20 pets in Suffolk County in New York tested, 1 in 12, 20 is right next door. 1 in 12 tested positive for Lyme disease.
Yes.
That is a lot. That is a lot of Lyme disease.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's not, I mean, people think about Lyme disease, but ticks also carry anaplasma and Ehrlichia as well. Anywhere between 1 in 6 are testing positive for anaplasma, and 1 in 20 for Ehrlichia.
Can you tell us what's those things that you just mentioned? Anaplasma and something
Yeah,
else?
those anaplasma and Ehrlichia are 2 parasites carried by ticks that can cause anemia. And I've seen that because we also have that in Southern California. And pets just come in looking really sick and lethargic and their gums are pale. It's another tick-borne disease. And so ticks are bad, and they're bad in that area. There is no doubt about it. When it comes to preventing against fleas and ticks, especially in a highly dense area, there's no supplement for prescription flea and tick preventative. And for an area like that, without a shadow of a doubt, I would do an oral and a topical product. And if you're using the right ones, you can do them at the same time. And the reason is because when your dog gets an oral product, it's in their system. You cannot wash it off, right? So it doesn't matter how much they're jumping in the ocean or getting bathed. And there's no user error with, getting it on the hair and the skin. They've got that. If a tick bites them, they get a dose of the medication and they die. And they die before they've had enough time to transmit the disease, like Lyme disease or Ehrlichia. Okay, so if your pet is just on an oral medication, there is no imaginary force field around your dog that's going to prevent the ticks from landing there and from biting. That's kind of the point, actually. They have to bite to get the medication. But the thing is that they die before they can transmit the disease. Okay, but ticks are still super gross and nobody wants them on their pet or on them. So the other component to that is if you use a topical like Vectra 3D or Canine Advantix 2, those are topical permethrin products only for dogs. Do not use that on a cat ever. Those will repel. They'll repel the ticks, mosquitoes, biting flies, things like screwworm. So they'll repel those animals from landing on your pet. And I think that's the piece. Most people want that. Put your pet on an oral product and you expect them, they're not going to have ticks, but they forget there's no force that comes out of that pill for the animal.
So can I get those products on that from Dutch as well? The products
yeah, absolutely.
You can get it from Dutch, and you can get it for 20% off on Dutch.
So can I just say something? Would it be okay after today that you guys drop the link of the product on the page as well, so that people know when they become member too? Because I haven't written it down. Sorry, it would be great.
And I mean, I want to get a microphone and scream this from the rooftops, especially in the Northeast, because it's people are noticing And we're seeing it on the incidence maps that there's more ticks and there's more fleas. And I have a flea. Oh, this is kind of funny. It's kind of gross. I have a flea forecast where it shows like blue is areas where fleas are relatively quiet, like lower flea activity. And then it goes through like yellow, orange into red is where there's like high flea activity, 100%. And the Northeast is like red. It's red. It's there's a lot of flea activity there right now, and we know that there are more ticks. So people talking, saying like, I want to validate this person's question. Like, you're seeing more ticks. Like, it is real. It's not just you. And why? You know why? Okay. Well, we think about our animals living in a city and not being like, you're in an urban area. We used to think about fleas and ticks as more of a suburban thing, but we're doing such a good job with green spaces now.
Yeah.
And pets are, they're walking through parks, and there are other mice and rats and other animals that share those spaces with them. And, the parasites don't care about zip codes. They just are where there are these green spaces. And, I don't want to like terrify people from a patch of grass, but just know if you've got any parks or green spaces near you, there's going to be some amount of exposure to parasites. And like, I don't want you to be so sheltered that you're not going outside and enjoying these spaces, because it's important for our own enrichment and the bonding with our pet. So I don't see that as abnormal. To me, I'm not like, oh, you're a bad pet parent if your dog has ticks and fleas. I'm like, oh, good job, you're going outside, right?
And can you just educate me something? Just so you know, everyone, we get our Simpatica trio, which is the heart guard and flea all combined in one little tablet for the children to take once a month. But that's the only measure I'm doing. I don't put the collar on because they don't really put their collar on. But I would like to get the repellent, the one that you just mentioned earlier for them, because I think a couple of things I always say, it's almost like children getting lice at school, right? Sometimes you just don't know other dogs in a group setting. The ticks could move from one person or one dog to another dog as well. So I always try to like put my experience as in a day-to-day human experience, because you can get lice anywhere. So as your dog, but I think we all do it differently. I'm slightly pedantic. I comb through every night because they sleep with me. So my doctor also gave me prescription of doxycycline as well, just in case I get a tick bite if I'm not aware of that. But for me, it's just so important that you just educate me that the pill itself is not important. And I'm so glad Donahue asked that question. Yes, there is a repellent, that you can use. And just so you know, people do ask, what are your natural? I don't think there is a natural one, but this is, and you can comment on what I use, a combination of peppermint oil and rosemary oil, and shake it up and just kind of rub it around. They smell nice. It's like essential oils, but I don't think they are like medically proved to repel ticks, So I am definitely going to take that product up. Thank you very much for suggesting that.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to the natural stuff that you can do, what you said, like the best natural thing that you can do is trying to check your pet regularly, go comb, groom them. It's good for them. It's a bonding activity too. Groom them, bathe them, vacuum your home, wash, bedding. Those kinds of things are really important. And then layering the topical on top of an oral. Simparica Trio is a great product, and it's in the isoxazoline class. And so there's a couple other products, Credelio and Credelio Quattro, and NexGard and NexGard Trio. And those three are the ones that are getting a lot of attention right now, because they're also being approved for prevention and treatment of screwworm. So those are great products. I love that you're on Simparica. I'm going to talk to you about Credelio on our next appointment too, because Credelio has the added benefit of treating just screwworms on my mind, of treating tapeworms as well. And dogs can get tapeworms if they ingest a flea. And if there's a lot of fleas.
Yeah, they love eating grass. They love eating grass. So,
Yeah, but that doesn't even have anything to do with it. If they were grooming a flea, they can't get tapeworms from eating grass, but even if they're not eating grass, they could get it from ingesting a flea because fleas carry tapeworm egg packets. And Credelio has the fastest kill. Huh?
We're going to change our prescription now. What is it called again? What's it called?
Credelio Quattro.
Our shopping list now, Credelio.
Which is an oral.
Credelio. Yeah, it's an oral, and it has a faster kill of the ticks. It's a few hours faster. Simparica's a really good product, so I don't mean to minimize that.
Okay.
We have the code FleaTick20 for 20% off for flea and tick medication, including Credelio, Simparica Trio, NexGard, Bravecto, and it's FLEATICK20, FleaTick20. Last question. We're over time, but on this kind of same topic, last question. My dog seems to be itchy. She's groomed regularly and bathed every other week. I give her half a Benadryl morning and night so she can be calmer. No hot spots, no fleas. She's a 16-year-old miniature schnauzer. Thank you for your help.
I love miniature schnauzers. Yeah.
And I think it's timely because whenever flea and tick talk makes me itchy. So I can, I can see the sentiment.
Yeah, I get a little itchy when I think about it too. Okay, so we said this dog was about 16 years old and itchy. Anytime I hear about a new, and I would ask this pet parent if that's a new behavior, like it came up all of a sudden in an older dog that's 16, I want to see them and maybe get some lab work, make sure that their lab work is up to date and make sure that there isn't something else going on. Because new signs in an older dog make us like, okay, let's pay attention here. Let's make sure that there isn't like a underlying pain or a metabolic issue or something like that going on. So that would be top of mind for me. Dogs can also get secondary infections with either bacteria or yeast that don't always look like a bad hotspot. So those are things to think about too. And older dogs and dogs with a aging metabolism are more susceptible. Dogs can develop food allergies and environmental allergies later in life. It's just not as common. So if this was a anywhere 1 to 4 year old dog that is just itchy all the time, like first thing that's going to come to my mind is environmental allergies. That's common. Pets get itchy and they can just be extremely itchy from inhaled allergens, which we have all over the place, like pollen, dander, dust. Removing the allergens as much as you can, like bathing, wiping paws, that's great. And there's also Apoquel, which is an oral anti-itch medication that can help a lot with that. Benadryl's an antihistamine. It doesn't do a whole lot when it comes to helping itch in pets. And I think a lot of what the relief that we see from Benadryl is actually has to do with like the calming and relaxing, more kind of sedative effect and less about the actual like feeling of itch. And so those are the kinds of things I would be thinking about, making sure there's no secondary infections. Make sure your dog's on a prescription flea and tick medication, like the ones that we just talked about. I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
if you're bathing that often, just also thinking about it, I would check in with the veterinarian on what shampoo that you're using and make sure it's a recommended one that's not going to dehydrate the skin, because you can bathe that frequently. And actually that's like part of the therapeutic treatment plan for pets with itch. A lot of people want a pill for a dog with a skin disease. And a lot of veterinarians, we say like, okay, but actually what's going to work better is treating the infection where it's at, right? The pill gets swallowed and absorbed through the bloodstream. And then you have to hope that the bloodstream, the blood vessels are going to get good enough concentration where the infection is. But guess what? You have great access to the skin and you can just put that antibiotic right on top of the skin with a shampoo or a mousse. It takes more work, but it's a great tool to use. So shampoos and bathing are like one of the dermatologist's favorite tools. but you want to check with your vet and make sure that you're using an appropriate one.
Sounds like they should go to Dutch.com and have a video call with a veterinarian to get a personalized treatment.
I think so.
I know we are right on time, right, Joe? I'm not sure because I feel that we're talking about longevity, going back to our original topic as well. There's a lot of people talking about hip and joint, and arthritis, and maybe you can talk about more properly of what a pet owner can do from a supplement perspective for them, Dr. Kate, because I think that's one of topics that I hear a lot, if you can close on that, if that's okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to supplements for joints.
Yeah. Hips and joints, because everyone's getting older, everyone's getting stiffer.
I know. Wait, so the number one thing is to make sure that your body condition, that your pet's not overweight. So that's the most important thing. Omega-3 fatty acids are so very helpful. They're helpful for the skin, the brain, the heart. So omega-3 fatty acids can be great for the joints. Green-lipped mussel is also one of the supplements that can be really helpful, and undenatured type 2 collagen can be great. A lot of us, when I went to vet school, we talked about glucosamine and chondroitin, and there's recent research that shows that those are not necessarily as proven to be as helpful as we once thought. And so, myself, I prescribed a lot of that up until recently as this research is coming out. There are these other things that can be really helpful. You asked me about MCT oil earlier. MCT oil is like from like a palm kernel oil that we think about as a supplement for cognitive, for aging of the brain, which is a great supplement too. There's no supplement for this weight loss though, and routine physical activity, meaning like walks. And as dogs get older, instead of doing 1 30-minute walk a day, if you could do like 3 or 4, 5 to 10-minute walks where they're just getting outside and getting to sniff things. Dogs see the world through their nose. So that is so enriching for them, and to keep their brains working, to get outside. And even if it's for shorter, more of them, getting out a few times a day. Don't be a weekend warrior where you're like, I got it all in at the weekend and we went for a 3-hour hike. That's actually that's not good. Unless your dog is active all throughout the week and they're training for that. Did that answer your question?
Well,
okay.
We got to wrap it up. Sam, thank you so much. I love, we could talk about this for hours, which is so wonderful. It's the best part of my day. Thank you for being an advocate for pet longevity. And Dr. Kate, thank you so much for all your expert advice. We'll see you all tomorrow, Thursday, next week, same time, same channel, 8:15 a.m. Pacific, 11:15 Eastern. Thank you all. Bye, everybody. Send us your questions.
Bye. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye, Petunia. Bye, Patriot.
Bye.
Oh, look at that cameo. Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye. Bye.